The room was filled with laughter, champagne glasses, and congratulations. 19 relatives had gathered around one long table to celebrate my brother Daniel's promotion. Everyone was proud of him. My aunts kept telling him how successful he was becoming. My uncles were talking about his future, and even my cousins were raising their glasses, saying, "To Daniel." I smiled and clapped along, trying to be genuinely happy for my brother. But then my mother looked directly at me. She waited until everyone had gone quiet, then smiled and said, "Maybe one day, we'll have something to celebrate about you, too." The table went completely silent. I felt my face burn. Nobody laughed. Nobody knew what to say. For a few seconds, I just sat there staring at my plate, pretending her words hadn't hurt me. What my mother didn't know was that I had been waiting for this exact moment. Not to embarrass her and not to get revenge, but to finally tell my family the truth. For years, Daniel had been the golden child. If Daniel got a new job, my mother called every relative to tell them. If Daniel bought a car, she showed everyone pictures. If Daniel achieved something, our entire family celebrated. And I was always the comparison. Why can't you be more like Daniel? Daniel knows what he's doing. Daniel is going places. I had heard those words so many times that eventually, I stopped trying to prove myself. Instead, I started working quietly. I built my career from nothing. I took extra shifts, saved money, learned new skills, and whenever something went wrong, I never called my family asking them to fix it. I handled everything myself. But nobody knew because I never felt the need to announce every achievement. That night, however, my mother's comment changed something inside me. She looked at me and said, "Maybe one day." I slowly put my fork down and calmly smiled. Then I said, "Actually, Mom, that day already happened." Everyone immediately looked at me. My mother frowned and asked, "What do you mean?" I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. I opened an email I had received that very morning and placed the phone on the table. "I was promoted today, too." My aunt gasped. My cousin leaned forward. One of my uncles asked, "Really?" I nodded. But that wasn't all. I told them that it wasn't just a small raise or a new job title. I had been promoted to regional director. The position came with a significant salary increase, a company car, and responsibility for an entire team across several states. For the first time that evening, nobody was talking about Daniel. Everyone was looking at me. My mother stared at my phone, then looked at me and asked, "But why didn't you tell us?" I took a deep breath and answered honestly. Because every time I tried to tell you something I was proud of, it became a comparison with Daniel. Daniel suddenly looked uncomfortable and lowered his glass. I continued, "I love my brother. I'm happy for him. Tonight is supposed to be about him, and I don't want to take that away. But I'm tired of feeling like my accomplishments only matter when they're compared to his." Nobody said a word. The silence felt different this time. It wasn't awkward. It was the kind of silence people have when they finally realize they have been wrong. Then Daniel surprised everyone. He stood up and raised his glass again. But this time, he looked directly at me. "To my sister," he said. "She worked for everything she has, and honestly, I'm proud of her." My eyes immediately filled with tears. I had expected jealousy from him. Instead, I got the one thing I had secretly wanted from my family for years: genuine recognition. My mother slowly stood up. For a moment, I thought she was going to defend herself or explain why she had said what she said. Instead, she walked around the table and hugged me. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Those two words meant more to me than any promotion ever could. She admitted that she had spent years comparing us without realizing how deeply it had hurt me. Then she looked around the table and said, "I think we've been celebrating the loudest achievements and missing the quiet ones." My aunt nodded. My uncle raised his glass, and one by one, everyone joined him. 19 glasses went into the air. But this time, they weren't just celebrating my brother. They were celebrating both of us. Daniel smiled at me, and I smiled back. As everyone continued talking and laughing, I realized something important. Sometimes the people closest to you don't see how hard you've been working because you're not the one making the most noise. But that doesn't mean your success is any less real. You don't need your family's applause to prove that you made it. And sometimes, the best response to being underestimated isn't anger. It's simply standing up, telling the truth, and letting your results speak for themselves. That night started as my brother's celebration, but by the end of dinner, my mother finally understood something she should have understood years ago. There was never a maybe one day. My day had already arrived. She just hadn't been looking.